Many financial planners start their journey with a passion for helping clients, and we all know that. That's why we got into this. But then very quickly we get bogged down, right, by the business side of things. And it doesn't matter really, in my opinion, whether you're a one-man, one-woman business, very small business, or practice, and you're building a larger one. It's the same issue. So in today's episode, we're sitting down with David Kop and to explore how financial planners can master the business aspects, streamline operations, and refocus on what they love the most, which is serving clients. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Warm welcome back to this episode 28 of season 5. Can you believe it? Lani just said in the studio just before we went live, she said, I can't believe it's season 5. I said, I can't believe it's October. And for those of you that's not yet, it's almost October. We're almost there. But it's crazy how quickly time flies. So very happy for you to join us this morning live. We're going to have a great episode today. David Kop is taking over the show this morning, basically, because he's got his segment and he's the guest. And he was at the day of CPD. It's the week of David Kop, so we'll continue with that today. But we also have Lani here, back fresh. I always have to double check. I always joke with her and say, if I see your one eye twitch, I think it's going to be the AI Lani who's here because she's got so much going on. But Lani's back with the latest news for us. So excited to have her back today. And of course, Razan is here. Razan is also going to share how we can get better at word of mouth marketing in all sorts of weird and wonderful ways. And, like I laughed at the day of CPD, people were asking, like, how many Red Bulls did I give Razan before she started? Or how many did she have? I said she had all of them. So full of energy, full of fantastic insights and ideas and things. So looking forward to that. I've got a couple of great announcements, always great. I only make good announcements on the show. And then I'm going to get into a conversation with David this morning. So looking forward to that. As you heard, we're going to talk all about how can we stop doing things alone, all by ourselves, and how can we master the business side of financial planning. So looking forward to that conversation. Righty, so let me say a warm good morning. Of course, everybody's here saying hi. There's also going to be a book giveaway, 2 books. Of course, we are giving away this book. Oh, I mustn't touch the wrong cables, otherwise you're going to lose me. There you go. So the Financial Advisor's Playbook is up for grabs, as well as one of Kobus Klein's books. The book is finally available on Takealot, so I'm going to share the details with you a little bit later. Righty, so let me say good morning. Mr. Terence Tobin in the house first. Good morning, Cindy. Good morning. Nice to see you as well. So they're all saying hi, and are you going to hum? Yes, I will also be at Humans Under Management, so hopefully you'll also have some coffee with me. Sorry, I'm showing you the conversation between them, which you can see in the chat, by the way. So, Jar, good morning. How are you doing? Jan, goeiemorgen, warm welcome. Alfred, good morning. Very nice to see you as well. Thank you very much for joining us. We've got Elna Stein, good morning. Nice to see you. Willem Bester, goeiemorgen. Nice to see you. Mr. Neil Phillips, good morning. Nice to see you as well. Frank Agliotti, good morning to all the exceptional people who walk with humility, care, and wisdom in making a difference. You are amazing. Thank you very much, Frank. Warm welcome to you. Molly Bahang, nice to see you back. Nice. Good morning. Lihana, good morning. Nice to see you back as well. Carl Stevens, good morning. Goeiemorgen. Eerste keer wat ek jou hier sal sien. Hello, sê. We've got Cheryl. Good morning, Cheryl. Nice to see you as well. And then Jock will say good thanks, good stuff. Mary Remke, just jumping in there right at the end. Righty. So I will be giving you the hashtag that you need to enter into the chat if you want to enter or be entered into the lucky draw. You'll be automatically entered. We'll do the draw live at the end of the show. And then we will send you your books, right? So fantastic. On that note, ladies and gents, let's get started with the morning and head on over to Lani for the latest news.
Yes, good morning, Fransha and team. It's the real Alani. It's not the fake Lani here. We have a bit of a tough week. We had Leader X. Thank you very much for everybody that participated. It was really fantastic. I'm very humbled by all the support that we received from our members. And again, FPI was the stand that had the most consumers that visited us. Again, consumers were standing. There was not enough seats, but our topics was also fantastic. So thank you and well done to Nikki and Rihanna at the FPI for arranging that. And it's a week of EXCO meetings, MANCO meetings. We had our board meeting yesterday, and today we have MANCO. So, but Fransha, as I mentioned, I'm starting today with quite some sad news. For those who had not heard about it yet, Pravin Gordhan, the former Minister of Finance and key figure in the fight against state capture, has passed away at the age of 75 after a recent cancer diagnosis. So Gordhan, a trained pharmacist, which I didn't know, and the founding commissioner of the South African Revenue Services, transformed the tax agency into the global leader it is today and played a pivotal role in South Africa's fiscal management. He served as finance minister twice and fiercely resisted the corruption like the Zuma Gupta state capture project. Despite his efforts, and we've seen he's really tried, his final role as the Minister of Public Enterprises was marked by challenges as parastatals like Eskom struggled. Gordhan is remembered for his unwavering commitment to South Africa's public service, and our prayers and thoughts is with his family this morning. May he rest in peace. Now, moving on from that very sad news, Ian Williamson, the Old Mutual Group CEO, says that investor concerns surrounding the South African elections, load sheddings, potholes, and fiscal instability have eased with the formation of a promising government of national unity, or the GNU, as it has become known as. With a stable energy supply and optimism around economic recovery, South Africa could see growth rise to 2% in 2014, up from 0.6% last year. However, to achieve long-term goals like the 4% GDP that we are looking for, growth like critical reforms in the labor, telecommunications, and mining is desperately needed. While financial challenges persist, including the high debt among South Africans, possible interest rate cuts and introduction of the two-component or the two-part retirement system may offer some relief. For lasting change, though, collaboration between government and private sector remains essential, and especially as South Africa prepares to host the G20 in 2025. Now, the G20, or the Group 20, is an international forum of 19 countries and the European Union that focuses on global economic issues. So, yes, we're going to host G20 in 2025 in South Africa. Then, from the Financial Sector Conduct Authority, they are a bit quiet, but we do know they are busy with a lot of preparations around the COFI environment. But the FSA has fined Mr. Shaheen Khan 4.5 million and debarred him for 10 years, a whole decade, following investigation into his unauthorized activities. So, what did Mr. Khan do? Well, between July 2018 and December 2018, Khan provided intermediary services for a foreign currency denominated investment product without proper authorization, violating Section 7 of the FACE Act. And he was acting as a key person in the financial institution. So the FSA again has issued a public warning: do not work with people who's not licensed, and make sure that you understand the financial products. Then some news from Amanda Visser from MoneyWeb. She says that South Africa's growing tax gap, now estimated at over 300 billion, has prompted calls for another tax and exchange control amnesty to help close it. Speaking at the annual tax in Durban, experts expressed concerns that the multiple amnesties may send the wrong message to honest, good taxpayers. Now, SARS collected 14 billion in additional revenue through its voluntary disclosure program, but critics argue that the process is too rigid, particularly regarding interest payments. A pending constitutional court decision in the Medtronic case could set precedent on whether SARS can refuse to remit interest on these voluntary disclosure program agreements. Then, Fransha, I said to you, I always try and give some AI fintech updates in my slot. So then on AI and the tech side, at the Quad A conference in Washington on the 11th of September this week, Erin Redrick, she is the CEO of Chat Black GPT, urged financial advisors to embrace artificial intelligence AI to grow and diversify their client base. So Reddick, a former tech leader at Meta and Microsoft, developed Chat Black GPT to address biases in the mainstream AI tools like ChatGPT. She highlighted the importance of using AI to promote diversity and inclusion, especially for Black financial professionals. Reddick suggested tools like Gamma and Harpa AI to help advisors create content and capture younger clients as part of the 73 trillion wealth transfer expected by 2045. Now, what is Harpa AI? I will always go and see what these tools are. So Harpa AI is a productivity tool that helps automate tasks like writing summaries, generating responses, and analyzing content from emails, videos, and blogs. It leverages artificial intelligence to assist users to manage and customizing their communications, making it easier to create tailored content quickly. Harpa AI is often used by professionals like financial advisors to streamline their workflows by automating routine tasks, thereby improving efficiency and client engagement. So when I attended the Shift Exchange conference in Mauritius late, we had a lot of panel discussions exactly around AI-based approaches and also how AI actually will then take over the routine tasks, and that's already happening. Then in closing, Francois and team, please remember everybody to register for the FPI's upcoming Estates and Trust workshop, which is on the 23rd of October. For more information, you can contact events at FPI or visit our website. And then for those scared of Friday the 13th, which is today, remember that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but one of power, love, and of sound mind. Bye, Francois. Blessings.
Thank you very much, Lelani. Appreciate it. A fantastic news segment. Right, next up is Razan. And Razan is talking about word of mouth marketing this morning. So let's head on over to Razan and see what amazing ideas he's conjured up for us in today's episode.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Brandworks brought to you by ProfileMe. Now, today we're diving into how you can use word-of-mouth marketing, otherwise known as WOMM, to leverage testimonials as social proof and then use these testimonials to ask for referrals to grow your business. Now, we all know trust is essential in financial services, and word-of-mouth marketing is one of the most powerful ways to build it. Word-of-mouth marketing isn't just a nice to have, it's a business growth engine. It generates 5 times more sales than paid media, and 92% of consumers trust it more than any ad you could possibly put out there. But here's what's even more interesting. Brands that inspire emotional intensity receive up to 3 times more word of mouth than brands that don't connect on that level. So it's not only about the service that you provide, it's also about how you make your clients feel. Now, the challenge is that while 13% of unhappy customers will share their bad experience with up to 20 people, only 3 people will tell others about a good experience. So that ratio you need to turn into your favor by actively encouraging satisfied clients to share their positive experiences. And testimonials are the perfect tool to do this. Not only do they create social proof, but they also reassure potential clients that others have had a positive experience with you. Now, when do you ask for a testimonial? The best time to ask for a testimonial is after a successful milestone or after positive feedback. You can even work this into your annual review. In fact, 70% of customers or your clients will write a review for a business when asked. So don't hesitate to ask, make it part of your process. You could say something like, I'm glad we achieved great results together. If you're happy with the service, would you mind sharing a few words about your experience? Now, once you have this feedback and these testimonials, use them. Put them on your website, put them on your profile needs page, put them in your email signature, go put them on your social media, and even on your WhatsApp status. Pages with testimonials see up to a 25% increase in conversions. So let's talk now about referrals. Referred clients are 4 times more likely to convert, and this one is a really good stat, and they are 200% more valuable in the long run. But many clients won't think to refer you unless you ask. So how do you ask effectively? Here's a simple example, and you can use it in a direct WhatsApp message or in an email. So it'll go something along the lines of, "Hi, Mr. or Mrs. Client, I'm glad you're seeing success with my service. If you know somebody who could benefit from this, feel free to introduce us or share my details." Now, adding your profile me link at the end there will obviously be perfect because it sends everything along. Otherwise, just add all of your contact details. For WhatsApp status, yes, you can put this on WhatsApp status. You could say something as simple as, "If you know somebody who would benefit from my personal financial advice, feel free to share my contact information," and then put something in there that has your contact information. A tool like Profile Me is obviously perfect for that. The key is to make it simple and as easy as possible. It shouldn't be work for your client. The easier you make this process, the more likely your client is to share it. And providing something like your Profile Me to share is the perfect way to ensure it's seamless and easy. Now, to wrap up, word of mouth marketing, testimonials, and referrals are powerful tools to grow your business. They build trust and strengthen relationships. And the best part is they cost absolutely nothing. By leveraging these strategies, you'll ensure that your brand is not only visible, but trusted. And that is it from me. I hope you have a wonderful Friday and a wonderful weekend ahead. Back to you, Francois.
Alrighty, brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Razan. She said so much more about that on the day of CBD, and she really went into detail. So if you missed that, I'm so sorry. But yeah, choices, right? So next up, we have David Kop, and David in Bulletproof Your Business today is going to talk about company culture. So David, over to you.
Hello, everyone. And yes, to continue our Bulletproof Your Business, brought to you by FI Consult, we're going to be talking about company culture. And why are we talking about company culture now? Well, back in 2013, when we saw the TCF principles, or it may have been 2011, but when the TCF principles came out, the first principle was customers can be confident they are dealing with firms where TCF is central to the corporate culture. We've seen this principle expounded on the Kofi Bill, where there is a whole chapter on corporate culture and governance and how customers must be certain that they are dealing with firms which have corporate culture and a fair treatment as customers at their center. Now, we never advocate for blind compliance to legislation. You need to understand what the regulator is trying to achieve with this. And also ask yourself the question from a business viewpoint, how can a positive company culture impact my business? Well, the case for a deliberate company culture in financial planning is very important. It is a young, evolving profession. We've got so many trends, from legislation to customer behavior changing to technology, that is redefining how our profession works on a daily basis. When we consider where financial planning is, an organization that is nimble, flexible, and adaptable is going to be the one that comes out on the other end of this change, that not only has survived, but actually thrived. In Colin J. Brown's book called The Happy Sandpit, the author points out that the purpose of a strong culture is that it enables the development of strategies quickly, possibly many times over, which can be the difference between life and death in a crisis. Now, while no means financial planning is in a crisis, we are in a massive period of change, and that's where corporate culture can help. There's also a case to be made for having a great corporate culture from an employee motivation viewpoint. When it is built right, it leads to motivated employees, which leads to better client centricity and outcomes. That's exactly what the legislation is hoping to see. In Daniel Pink's book, Drive, The Surprising Truth About What Motivates Us, the author asserts that the secret to high performance and satisfaction in his work is the deeply human need to direct our own lives, to learn and create new things, and to be better by ourselves and our worlds. He examined 3 areas of motivation. The first one being autonomy. So to what degree are employees allowed to make their own decisions? This is coming more apparent when we look at the whole work from home options, where a study by Harvard Business Review found that employees not only want flexibility about office days, but also the autonomy to decide what suits them best. Autonomy will enhance the client experience. I recall a hotel chain has given their employees the right to make a decision that will impact their clients' lives. And there was one porter who overheard a couple booking into the hotel, and the wife was lamenting the fact that she could not get beach access because she was in a wheelchair. He had the authority to go and do something about that. So immediately he went out, he got the materials, and he built a wheelchair ramp down to the beach. The next morning, the couple was pleasantly surprised when the wife could now get wheelchair access. Imagine the loyalty that inspires. Mastery is the other side. Employees don't generally want to be stuck where they are. They want to develop themselves. So does your culture allow for the development and growth of your employees? And the last one is purpose. Have you decided as a business what your why is? What is the value that you're given just above just making money? Is there a deeper purpose? Is that articulated? And does everyone know about that? The last point we're going to talk about company culture is values. Now, when it comes to values, there are really 2 types of values. The first one being table stakes values, and the second one being core values. Table stake values are the values that you cannot imagine a company not having. Things like honesty and integrity. They are obvious, but many companies actually claim to have them. Core values is really what makes an organization unique and is embedded in the fiber of the organization. These are obviously often deeply personal values of the founder, and they are carried over into the organization. It is what clients potentially look for when they hire you, and also a great way to assess potential new employees and hires. Do they share the same core values? Now, the problem most companies have when they do a values exercise, they invariably end up highlighting the table stakes values and not really taking a deep dive into the core values, which is really what's going to set you apart. It's going to help you hire people, and it's going to also help you attract clients who share the same values and therefore be more sticky. And on a final note, I can't end without your Bryce story. So if you ever wondered why the Mona Lisa does not have eyebrows, okay, the mystery has been solved thanks to an engineer named Pascal Cotter. Da Vinci did in fact paint Mona Lisa with eyebrows, but over time, these eyebrows were eroded due to cleaning to the point where they are no longer visible today. So it's not just some college prank. She actually did have eyebrows to start with. And back to you, Francois, and I'll see you in a bit. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. Let's do some quick announcements. Righty, so the first big announcement this morning. Well, let me first give you the hashtag, right? So if you want to win this book, amazing book, written by 14 amazing professionals here in South Africa, you really want to do this, right? So first of all, today's hashtag to celebrate the fact that this book finally is on Takealot. The hashtag is hashtag Takealot. And if you enter that into the chat, you will automatically be entered into the draw at the end for this, as well as for Kobus's book. So we're going to do 2 draws. The first one will be for this book, and then the second one will be for a choice of one of Kobus's 4 books. So, and Kobus will sort of the choice you make will go to Kobus, and Kobus will get in contact with you and send that off to you. And we will send you the Financial Advisor Playbook if that's the one that you win. So on that note, the book is now available on Takealot. The link is down below in the description. So if you don't win today and you don't want to see if you ever win, you can get the book. You can order for yourself. You can order for your team. But just note that we do print these books on demand. So that entire process is automated. So as you place orders on Takealot, the printers will print the book and Takealot will ship them off to you. So there is a bit of a delay of up to 7 days. So please just know that. Let me just manage your expectations on that. So the book is not in stock. So you'll see there's always a waiting period, but it's well worth it, I promise you. So whether you want to purchase 1 book or 50 books, you can do that all on Takealot, right? Special price, by the way. The price of the book is 295 Rand. We launched it at 195 Rand. So you can go and get it at that price for the next month. Thereafter, it's going to increase to 295. Righty, so that's the first one. Then what else is there? Let me just have a brief look. Right. So Ascend is taking place on the 9th of October. It starts at 8:30 in the morning, 8:45. Can't remember exactly. But we end at 1 o'clock. So it's a full morning. You can come and join us. We've got a fantastic agenda lined up. So have a look at that. That will go out to you very, very shortly, because now we're done with the day of CPD that took place this week. It was incredible. It was 6 amazing, or I must just say 5, because I did one of the 6. So 5 of the sessions were absolutely amazing. And then I also did a session. But it was really the insights shared by every single presenter, from Benny from Asset Map to Evan from Old Mutual Wealth. Rizan just knocked it out of the park as well. David did a fantastic session on the journey that we've been on from a regulatory point of view and sort of where things are going. And then also Leanne Kop from Innate, that thing. So he did a whole session around generations, the next generation of investors, and how we can position our practices to really benefit and be ready for that, really. And then I spoke about, some practice management stuff from a ComSpace point of view as well. So fantastic. It was really a fantastic day. So for those of you that joined us, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. The CPD certificates will go out very shortly, and we'll make the recordings available on our website, open for anybody to watch, but no CPD. So you can only earn CPD when you attend live. But you will be able to go and see those presentations on our website. So we'll also announce that. Then just briefly, just the last thing, just remember we launched TaxSpace. If you want to go check it out, taxspace.app. You can find out more information. You can get a 10 Rand trial, and you can try it for a week and see what it does. But I also implore you to go watch the launch, because I explain exactly the problems that this tool solves and why it's a great asset in your business. So that you'll find here on the YouTube channel. You can go and watch that as well. Alrighty, so that's about that from a quick announcements point of view. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. We're so close to 1,600. To think we started off on 79 way back 5 years ago. So we do grow very, very slowly, but it's because we only attract the right people. So if you're here, if you're watching this, if you get value, please consider subscribing. It really helps us a lot. It doesn't cost you anything. But it really it makes my heart warm. Let me say that out loud when I see people subscribing. And then also, if you like this conversation today and all the segments, like all these people put in a lot of hard work, please do hit the like button. It's the little thumbs up one. If you don't like what we do, you can also hit the thumbs down one, which is also welcome. But do share this. Tell other people about it. Invite other people to join us live, because that makes such a big difference. And then lastly, just remember #Takealot if you want to enter into the draw. Alrighty, I'm ready. I'm pretty sure David is ready. I see he's doing his push-ups and his star jumps down here in the studio. So David, let's have our conversation. David, I don't want to assume that I can say welcome to the show, David. I don't think you need any introduction because we can never make that assumption, right? But you may very well not recognize David this morning, because it is not the same David that's on the photo. David is, I don't know, he lost his beard overnight. But David, warm welcome. Nice to finally have a proper chat with you as well on the show. Thank you for the segment that you run. It's really valuable. But yeah, just a warm welcome.
Thank you very much. And I think one of those things is updating profile photos, right? It's always the last thing you do. And yeah, life doesn't stay constant. We're always in a state of change. So I need to whip out the old camera and get a new profile photo, and probably keep a few iterations so I can change them as the hair grows and gets cut.
Yeah, luckily you don't get older. You just get either you have hair or you don't have hair. So, so that's fantastic. All right, let's get into the conversation, David. For those of you that don't know David, I think most people got to know David when he was with the FBI. In fact, I ran into David at the Checkers in Krugersdorp, and I then said to him on the whim, like, David, don't you and the FBI want to do a news segment on the show? Because I was thinking about how do we change the show around, and that was season 2, right? So that's many, many years ago, and that's how it started. And FBI is still going, you're still going, albeit not with the FBI anymore. But, you've had a long standing with the show, so thank you for that. I want to get right into the conversation. If you want to learn more about David, you can follow him on LinkedIn. We've got all the details down below and all of that, so you can do that. You always talk about, that financial planners start off as technicians rather than entrepreneurs. And I see this a lot as well, where you find that a lot of financial planners and advisors, when they decide to start their own business, that they sort of think they're just going to do the job of a financial advisor. And then suddenly the things that they are used to being done for them, suddenly it's their responsibility. But I'm keen from your perspective, what are some of the biggest challenges that they find when they move from sort of making this transition from a financial advisor into starting their own business or running their own business?
Yeah, so Francois, there are really two pieces of work that I read that really shaped my idea around this. The first one being the E-Myth Revisited by Michael E. Gerber. And he really looked at a viewpoint of why many small businesses fail. And he called it the E-Myth, which actually stands for the entrepreneurial myth. And it's in that he said that most businesses are not started by entrepreneurs who are risking capital for the reward, but started by the technicians. So essentially, you're doing a job, you're doing it somewhere, and you think, hey, I can do this better, or I can do something different, or I want something different from where I'm doing my job, but I want to carry on doing what I'm doing. Then you leave your job and you start your own business, and that's when the reality hits. And in the beginning, it might all be the honeymoon period where you can carry on doing what you're doing, but then the reality of running a business hits. And it might be something where it's your first tax return that you have to submit for the business, and then realizing that you haven't actually kept a set of books, or it's that compliance report you need to submit your financial statements through to the FSCA, and you realize, well, no, I haven't actually kept financial records, and I need to now go and update those, which essentially means it takes you away from doing what you love, which is sitting in front of clients and dealing with clients, and needing to get into the background and do the business things, which might not be your passion. That often leads to people getting very disillusioned with what they're doing. And more, you see that you're spending time away from your core purpose, which is seeing your clients, to running the business, which leads to a decline in the business. Because if you're not generating the revenue, if you're not seeing the clients, the business is stagnating and not growing. The second piece I read it was an article that said financial planners make the worst CEOs. And I was very offended by the title of that article, because I thought, hey, we're financial planners, we're great at what we do, we know what we do. But as I read into it, it really highlighted the fact that by taking on the role of running the business, it detracts us from the role of seeing our clients, which is what is really, for 90% of us, our passion area. So that's really what formulated this thought that when you come into it, there's actually two roles that need to be fulfilled in any business, and particularly the financial planning business. The one is that of running the business and keeping the lights on and everything working on that. And the other one is the client engagement side, which is actually sitting in front of clients and chatting to them about their financial futures.
Thank you very much, David. But also, you've identified 3 main functional areas in financial planning. Can you just maybe briefly walk us through those 3 main areas?
Yeah. So the way we've defined it is, well, number one, you got your operations side of the business. Now, the operations side is looking at things like your finance and accounting, your information technology, your human resources, your marketing and your business development. And we firmly believe that while there is a requirement for financial planners themselves to do business development growth, we think that is a function of the business. The business has the obligation to generate marketing and to generate clients that the financial planners in the business can then piggyback on. The second area is what we've termed client engagement, and many refer to them as the practice or financial planning. We think it is the client engagement team. And that client engagement team is made up of the financial planners. It's made up of a para-planning function, however you implement that. And the third leg of that is the client service side of it. So client engagement team is made up of the planners and the administration. And then the third functional area is compliance. And quite often we see compliance when it's spoken about in financial planning, it's spoken around in the terms of FICA, it's spoken on in terms of POPI and the phase legislation. The reality is, as a business owner, there are other areas of compliance that you've got to look at. Things like SARS, things like POPI for a business, the Occupational Health and Safety Act. So all those things that relate to the operational side. And then this is all wrapped up in the governing body side of things. So it's not just a case of saying, let's do things in the business. There is a responsibility to look at what the future of the business looks like, what the strategic direction of the business is, and where we're ultimately going to end up as a business. You know, what are you trying to create? And that's the role of the governing body. Now, yeah, quite often when you start out a small business, you're doing everything. Okay, you're chief cook and bottle washer. But by making sure that you identify these functional areas, you can then start building what your organization could look at based on your vision and where you want to take it.
Because that's an important part, right? I mean, these are three functional areas, which, like everything else, can sort of be sorted into them. And then also, they don't work independently from each other, right?
Yeah, no, they definitely don't. They're all integrated into each other. And you can't say, well, I'm going to have an operations team that's just going to sit and do their own thing and not worry about it. Because remember, the operations team also looks at things like business optimization and processes. So they could essentially not only look at business processes, but they could come on and give an independent view on your financial planning processes and what they look like and how to optimize them. The use of technology, for instance, and I think you've had some great guests talking about AI and technology and saying, technology is not a technology problem, it's a business problem. So you first got to look and see what do you need to solve from a business viewpoint, and then look at bringing in technology. So you can't have a financial planning team that is going in one direction and your ops team having a total different view on technology and what needs to be done. So they are definitely, although they are functional areas, they are all integrated and they can't operate independently. And you're just going to have a bunch of people doing their own things. And that's where having the vision for the business is quite important, and setting that direction of what your business is going and detailing that into a functional strategy of where the business is going to end up.
Yeah. So there's so many roles within a business, David. Like, I mean, there's, I think, 26 roles or something that you've outlined in a business. Which ones do new financial planning business owners tend to struggle with the most out of those? I mean, 26, that's a lot of hats, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of hats to wear. And I think the reality is that the two areas that probably struggle the most is the operations side and the strategic side. And the reason being is that most people, and again, we're generalizing here, and this is from research and generalization, but most people who start a business are first and foremost financial planners. And there's also a reality is that when you start a business, your first goal is revenue generation. Okay, it's all very good and well to talk about having processes and sitting down and having a functional design and having a great business plan, but it doesn't help if the money's not coming in. So you can't really sit down and say, for the next 6 months, I'm just going to think about the business and not see clients. So generally speaking, when you start your business, the first thing that you got to jump into is the revenue generation and bringing the clients on board and making sure there are funds available to keep the business sustainable. So things like the accounting side, the human resources side, those all fall by the wayside, and they then start becoming problems to be dealt with, as opposed to something nice to deal with in the start point. So that's where the big struggle comes in, and that's where quite often people sit back and think, what have I done to myself? Because now I've got to deal with all of this. You start growing and you start bringing people on board. And what a lot of the challenges of hiring new people is not actually knowing what you're hiring people for. So quite often from a business viewpoint, we hire a person and then try fit them into a role. The reality is we should do it the other way around. We should have roles defined, know exactly what we're looking for, and then try and find the right people to fulfill those roles.
So the big question is obviously, when and how do I know? What are there some signs? Some, like the other day I was driving back from Stellenbosch to Somerset West, and I thought to myself, so when did the speed limit change? Because I got a little photo. Like what are the signposts like along the way that we sometimes miss and that we maybe need to look out for, David? That is screaming like, okay, so maybe you need to get outside help. And with outside help, I guess we can also define it as employing somebody or getting somebody literally outside your business to help you. But are there some clear signs that I need to sit up and take notice of?
Yeah, I think the first sign is exactly that. If you ask me yourself, what the hell am I doing? That's probably the first sign that something is going wrong, and you need to look at what you're actually doing, what you want to do, and how can you achieve what you want. The second sign is the exhaustion, okay? And when you're finding that you're spending 20-hour days and not getting ahead, that's a sign that something is going wrong. It means that there's a distraction that is preventing you from reaching your goals, from reaching your vision. And that's the time to sit back and go, where have I actually gone wrong with it? And I firmly believe that if you can, and remember, we as financial planners never go to a client and say, look, and in the first meeting or the first discussion we have with them, that let's just put a life policy in place and then figure out why we put the life policy in the place in the second bit. We always say, let's define a financial plan, let's get the plan right, and then look at solutions for the plan. So if you don't have a plan, if you don't have an idea where you're going, if you're thinking, look, I'm just can carry on seeing clients and hopefully things will come right, and eventually I'll get to the place where I want to be, even though I don't know where that is, that's probably a sign to say, take a step back, get out of your business for a day, for a week, for 2 hours, and say, where am I actually going and what do I actually want to achieve from this?
I think it's sometimes very difficult, David. Like I was looking at a few things this past while, and I think there's often some difficulty in like, where do I start kind of thing, which I think is something really a lot of people struggle with. And I think there's one particular thing that it probably boils down to, but that's a hard part. So, I mean, do you have any views just maybe on how do I get started if I know I need to do this? Or there's all these signs and I recognize them and I go, okay, yeah, so now I need to take some time out, be it an hour, 2 hours, a week, whatever it may be. But where do I then start? Like, well, what's that first step then once I do take the time out?
So I think the first thing is, and it's probably the title of this, which is don't go it alone. Okay. There is always somebody who you can talk to. Okay, whether that be your spouse, whether that be peers who are going through the same thing as you. So you've got a great community in something like PROpulsion. So it might even be a thing of going into the community and sharing and being brave enough to go, hey, I've hit this roadblock. And what you will find is that there will be a lot of other people who may not have or who may have been at the same place as you and found a solution. So reaching out to your peers, reaching out to your support base is the first place to start. And then I think I'd be remiss in doing myself a disservice if I didn't say that one of the options is also hiring a business consultant or a business coach. So if you don't know where to start, if you don't know where to go, even if you say, let me take an hour, let me take 2 hours of time of someone and just run their ideas by me and get a different perspective. I cannot emphasize the value of having an external perspective of somebody else just coming in and going, hey, have you not thought about this? I mean, quite often my sounding board is my wife, okay, because we've been together now and we've got a 30-year-long relationship. So we know each other very well. So if I'm going through something, I'm happy to talk to her. But then I've also got a business partner who's also a coach. And quite often I run things that are not business related through him. And he's very happy to give me some advice and guidance in that. So I think the first point is realize that you're not alone and look at what your support structure looks like and where the best place is for you to maybe get an external perspective or to get some external advice. And if that's the case of saying, I want to hire someone, even if it's just as a thinking partner, where I have an hour or two with them on a monthly basis, it's saying, let's have a chat with them. So don't go it alone.
Yeah, I agree. Like that's probably the thing that, one of the things that makes a big difference in my life as well. And there's something magical that happens. I always say when you write things down, because there's something that flows from your brain to the page, but there's also something magical in, like you said, soundboarding with someone, because you hearing yourself speak about it, like, and it comes out, it's not staying in your head. You're actually saying it out loud. There's something that happens there as well. And sometimes as you're talking, you go like, yeah, okay. Then there's also, obviously one of the things, and there's a show that we run in the UK called Operations Optimizer, which is quite a fantastic little show. But one of the things that you could really do is to get an operations manager. Can you give us a bit of an overview of what an operations manager is, and maybe just, what are some key responsibilities that they would have in a business?
Yeah. So in a nutshell, think of all the stuff that you do on a daily basis and you go, I don't really want to do this. That's really the role of the operations manager. So this is where the idea of the functional areas come through. So the operational manager's job is to do the business side of financial planning. So it's to handle things like, are you on a regular basis keeping accurate accounting records? Are you monitoring those accounting records? Have you developed KPIs? Have you thought about, what is a good indicator about the financial health of the business? It's to deal with the human resources side of things. And the human side is what we love of our financial planning, but not necessarily of running a business. So there's a lot of minefields and traps that can come into that. So it's a case of saying, how do you make sure that the human resources, the performance management, the hiring, the firing, the keeping staff happy, creating the culture, that's the operations management side. Looking at your IT policy. Okay, so what does it come in, not only from what does our tech stack look like and what are we using, but what is our security around that? What is our support around that? And then also developing marketing and business development plans and proposals. Now, to be very clear, it's not a fact that an operations manager is going to be doing all of these things. And this is where those 26 roles come from. So your operations manager really takes on an oversight and a management viewpoint of those functions as opposed to doing. Now, again, as a small business, you might find someone who is doing a lot of those things and has to come in and wear all of those hats so they can remove those roles from the financial planner. But the ideal situation is that you would hire people that report into the operational manager in each of those functional areas and do that. And that could either be a hire or outsourced function. The operations manager role is also one on the governing body. So they are also somebody who can help the founder, who can help the CEO think on a strategic level. So they can help define what the strategy of the company looks like and where it is heading and what the ultimate goal is 5, 10, 15 years from now.
Yeah. And that was sort of my next question as well, David, that, you often find that, and again, like the reason why I asked you to what is an operations manager, because again, like if we don't define it correctly from day one, we might think it's an assistant. Just like we say we have a paraplanner, but they're actually an assistant. They're not a paraplanner. Like we treat them like an assistant. They do a lot of the nitty-gritty stuff, which does not fall within the ambit of a paraplanner. And the same thing is going to happen here in smaller businesses, probably. And also then, you know, if you think about all the responsibility that such a person takes, there's obviously a certain level of person with a certain level of experience, a certain level of knowledge that you would need that comes at a certain cost. And you did mention, I mean, there's obviously some other options there, but what about smaller firms that can't afford to appoint an operations manager? What options do they have, and what could be a solution for them?
Yeah, so Francois, we've had some discussions, and there's a lot of thought out there. And the thought is that one solution to look like, so if you're not in a position to build a business which has the 26 roles, the one solution to look at is go, what are my core functions? And the core function is really the client engagement side. It's the financial planning side. Everything else is non-core, although important to the business. And there's a variety of options in terms of using outsourced partners. So I'm not suggesting in any way, shape, or form that you have to immediately go and hire an operations manager. There are companies out there that do management consulting, including FI Consult. And part of that management consulting is giving you an outsourced operations management function. Now, we as a business has looked at it and said, we want to be able to help everybody regardless of where they're on their journey. So we've developed various options.
Not sure if we lost David there. Can someone just let me know in the chat? It seems like we might have a technical difficulty on his end, but I'm not sure if it's on my end. So if you can hear me, can you please just give me a shout in the chat so that I can see? I see I did lose David there. I'm still in, so I'm pretty sure it's on his end, unfortunately. But that's how it goes when we have technical issues. Yes, we lost David. Yes, thank you for letting us know. I mean, it is quite an interesting conversation so far, and thank you very much for the sort of comments. I'm going to go through the comments while David is finding his internet connection, which has probably evaded him. Terence says that there's so many things for us to do as FSP business owners. And whether you see yourself as a business or you see yourself as a practice, right? So for me, I defined it in the day of CPD as well. What is the difference between a practice and a business? And a practice is really that small business with a small team. You can often build that within somebody else's business, or you could just set up your business as a practice, basically. But a business, obviously, then have more people, bigger teams, multiple financial advisors, and so forth, usually. So I think that's how we define that. But many people do see their practice as their business, which is important. And there's so many aspects that we need to manage around that. And I don't think we're always content with just how much that takes us away from the core things, as David has rightly alluded to before. So definitely. Jark says, yeah, Terence, rephrase things to do as hats to wear rather than then you can build a nice collection. Yes, absolutely. And it's amazing. Like there's this book by Daniel Strauss, The Billionaire Mindset. So even if you've got no aspirations to become a billionaire, that's not what it's about. But if you look at the way and the level at which we need to think to really take our businesses forward, and how you can actually change the level at which you think based on what you are busy with at that particular point in time, it's really powerful what you can do from that perspective. So basically coming back to wearing different hats. And it's literally, if you put yourself in that role and in that position, it's crazy how differently you think then. Whether you think as a CEO or whether you think as a founder, you think as a shareholder, you think as a director, you think as an investor even into your business. Like, what are the things that you would want to see? You would want to see very different things from when you're doing the job of a financial advisor or planner. So those things are really, really important. Carol also shared that when having my Blue Star practice, I was everything detracting from my ultimate vision and purpose. I was a glorified recruitment agent of advisors to generate income, rather partner with the right people. Absolutely. I think we all go through that one when we start. Like, you think you're going to do this thing, and then the other thing takes a lot of your time. Neil also commented to say that when we were talking about the signposts, he said a big sign is if or when you stop having fun doing what you do. I think when you ask yourself that question, it's very interesting because last week I spoke about, are we at a crossroads? And I had such a response back via email, WhatsApp, and phone calls. People are saying like, you know what, I find myself at that point. And it's always, what is that crossroad? It's like, is this what I signed up for? Is this what I still wanted to do? So those things are really, really important and clear signs. And it's often not a case of this isn't fun anymore. It's just that we haven't surrounded us with the right people, and we haven't gotten the right people in. So very important. Liana also said, I realize every day that I've been very lucky to have been a business owner before becoming a financial planner. Absolutely. It's a different mindset when you go into it. So thank you very much for that. Mr. Johan Oosthuizen said, start with understanding your entrepreneurial mindset. Definitely. Also know it comes down to knowing what you really enjoy. And I think the other thing that's important is like, do you understand and know what gives you energy in business and what drains your energy? Because the things that drain your energy are the things where you should find somebody who gets energy from that. So very important. We need to be really intentional when we look for people. Terence says, I've outsourced this function in my FSP recently. It has been amazing, and the experience both empowering and freeing. And I know for a fact that Terence is using David for that. So kudos to David. Righty. So with that, ladies and gents, I'm going to call it a day. Not a day. We still need to do the lucky draw, but that's the end of the main segment. And thank you very much for your patience. And let's do the lucky draw. Alrighty, so there we go. Let's do the lucky draw. Thank you very much for sticking around. Let's go present, and let me share my screen with the giveaway tool so that you can see exactly what's going on. So we've got 27 entries. If you still want to enter, let me just bring this up on the screen. If you still want to enter, I see David is back, so I'm going to bring David on. David will do a little bit of an ending at the end, but there's David. So David's going to join me for the lucky draw. So we've got hashtag take a lot, right? So if you still want to enter the draw, you can still quickly comment in the chat, hashtag take a lot. And the first book I'm going to do a lucky draw for will win this. If you already won the book, like what happened last week, I'm going to do a draw again. Or if this book or Quibus's book, like if you won a book in the last 6 months, we're going to do another draw. So happiness, right? So I don't see anybody doing an extra one. Let me just make sure that I have got my applause ready for the winner, and let's do the draw. So who will be the winner today of this, of the Financial Advisor Playbook? And there we go, Silas Beckers. Well done. Look, honest. I don't know if I've got your number. I'm going to have a look. I probably do. Let me just double check. If I don't, I'll contact you via LinkedIn or something, or you can contact me. But big congratulations. You've won the Financial Advisor Playbook. And we're going to do another draw. The next draw is going to win one of Quibus Klein's 4 books. You can choose which one. Just by the way, the process, I'm going to send you a link that you need to complete, and everything from there is automated in Francois style. So everything will happen smoothly. Righty, so who is the next winner? Our second winner for today is going to be, with me, it is weer Gary Nel, nie Gary. Let's see, Mollebohing. Yeah, it's about time, Mollebohing. Congratulations. I will send you the link. Explain. Will be in touch with you. So thank you very, very much. Then, David, I mean, there's one particular question I wanted to ask you. Sorry, now we're out of time and the internet didn't work with us. But there is one question that I wanted to ask you. So just by the way, Terence mentioned that he's using, and I said, like, I know he's using you, and fantastic, and he's very happy and getting a lot of value from outsourcing that specific function. But for those advisors and planners who are really feeling that overwhelm and that sort of, they're sort of all over the place, I mean, what would be one piece of advice that you would want to leave us with today?
So the one piece of advice is just have a conversation with someone. So if you don't know where you are, like we do for our clients, and we help them get clarity, have a conversation with somebody to get clarity on it. And in fact, what I'm prepared to do, Francois, for anyone who's on the call today, if you want a free 30-minute consultation or 30-minute chat just to get that clarity and to get some advice, I'm happy to for you to reach out to me, and I can give a complimentary 30-minute discussion just to help you get that clarity and put you on the right path.
It's fantastic. Thank you very much, David. And with that, ladies and gents, we've come to the end of the show. And thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. And until then, stay safe, be blessed and prosper, and continue to raise the bar. Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.